Presented by the 2015 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Welcome to Rogers Center. The roof is kicked wide open. It's a gorgeous day, 26 degrees here in Toronto. The Yankees won the opener of this three-game series, 4-3. One of the best games in recent memory for many people. Yankees players talked about it. The Blue Jays players talked about it. It was a great ball game. It had playoff atmosphere for sure. Take a look at the Yankees lineup. Carlos Beltran with a big swing of the bat last night. His second career pinch hit home run was the decisive swing of the bat. He's got a 9-game hit streak. He's batting third here. John Ryan Murphy is behind the plate, and he's a terrific catcher that's swinging a hot bat right now. Over his last 11 games, he has 11 hits and 3 extra base hits.
Yankees had some good at-bats in last night's ball game. This afternoon, they get Marco Estrada, gets ready for his 19th start of the season for the Blue Jays. This is his third career start versus the Yankees. He picked up the win 6 days ago. That was at Yankee Stadium. Held him scoreless through 6 1/3 inning. In fact, he is now working on a 9-inning scoreless streak. The last run that he gave up, 4th inning of his start versus the Twins on August the 4th.
Jacoby Ellsbury is in the box. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. It is in there, and Ellsbury cuts on it, pops it to left field. Ben Revere is there. 1 pitch, 1 out. Well, the defense, they had 4 more red stars in the book last night for the Blue Jays. They've been playing terrific defense in the field. It's Revere, Pilar, and Bautista in the outfield. Josh Donaldson has been great at third base. He made a nice running catch in foul ground last night. Tulowitzki goes up the middle. Chris Colabello makes the start, his 17th at first, and Marco Estrada and Deanna Navarro have been a very effective battery.
Yes, a couple of changes from last night. Navarro, the catcher, and Chris Colabello will start at first base. His last start over there, August the 5th. That was 10 days ago, also in that Minnesota series.
Brett Gardner steps in. The left fielder takes one down and away. Gardner, 287 for the season. He's starting to swing the bat a little bit better of late. Gardner was 2 for 5 in the game last night. Marco Estrada said this is the best catching tandem he's ever pitched to. Deanna Navarro has really done a terrific job with him, and Navarro has emphasized the fastball and the curveball. Russell Martin and Navarro have been a great tandem behind the plate for all of these Blue Jays pitchers this season.
I talked to Deanna about Estrada, and he really feels like Marco's curveball is a pitch that can really play for him. We all know about his changeup, but he wants to get away from being a fastball changeup type of pitcher and introduce that curveball just a little bit more. In the last start against the Yankees, his curveball was outstanding.
Two-one. Ellsbury pops it in the air. Bright sun, and that's a problem. Tulowitzki, the shortstop, says he can see it, and he makes the catch. 2 outs. Carlos Beltran will come to the plate. He had the big swing of the bat last night.
Might be the biggest hit for the Yankees. They were talking about that today, this season. He choked up just a little bit more after he got the 2 strikes, and it looked like Aaron Sanchez wanted to heat him up with that fastball, but he got too much of the plate. And Beltran, a veteran hitter, made the adjustments within that at-bat to help them win that ball game.
2 outs. Beltran, it was his second career pinch hit home run, and ironically his first came against the Blue Jays while he was playing with the Kansas City Royals back in 2003. There's that high fastball, and that's the book on Beltran. Run it upstairs, and you got a chance to get him to cut on it.
You got to get it up, though. The first 2 pitches to him last night from Aaron were letter high fastballs that Carlos just couldn't catch up to.
How much do you sense that Estrada is really pitching with a lot of confidence now?
Well, you can just see it. Over his last 5 or 6 starts or so, everything has been working for him.
The curveball missed in the dirt.
And a lot of it has to do, he gives a lot of the credit to Deanna Navarro and his game calling behind home plate. Watch this afternoon how many times he shakes him off. They have really been in sync together.
Going upstairs, it's inside off the plate. Full count. Mark Teixeira, the DH here this afternoon, is on deck. There's a high, deep drive to right. Bautista is back at the wall, and this one is gone. Beltran homers for a second consecutive at-bat. A two-out home run here in the first, his 12th of the season.
He has been swinging a hot bat. That's why Joe Girardi elevated him in the lineup up to third, so he would hit in that first inning, and it pays off right away. Got another high fastball.
It's his third home run on this road trip. He is now 6 for 13 on this road trip.
They wanted that ball down and away, and it caught too much of the plate again.
That's just the second home run Estrada has given up in his last 8 starts. That was a real problem for him last year in the National League. It's not been the case lately. He's done a good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. And cutter missed inside. It's 3-1 to Teixeira.
Been a good pitch for him, that little cutter that he started throwing in spring training, something that he can get in on those left-handed batters.
That changeup misses for ball 4. Teixeira takes a 2-hour walk. Marco Estrada beat the Yankees last Sunday and pitched a terrific game to finish off the sweep. 6 1/3 innings. He allowed no runs on 3 hits. Chase Headley, the third baseman. He tries to bunt with that shift in place,
but comes up empty. Marco Estrada comes in here on a little bit of a roll, a 3-start win streak, an ERA of 1.45, and opponents hitting just 131. They haven't given up the home runs until that home run by Beltran. Beat Kansas City, beat Minnesota, and beat the Yankees at Yankee Stadium.
Ball and a strike to Headley. Headley had a big game for the Yankees last night. He was 3 for 4. Had a pair of doubles and had a big ground rule double in the 8th inning that set up the home run for Carlos Beltran. Popped up on the changeup. Goins battling the sun. He is there, and the inning is over. But the Yankees break out on top. Carlos Beltran has homered in both games here so far. It's 1-0 New York. Over the last 3 weeks, Blue Jays have been ahead a lot during this recent hot streak. Let's take a look at the lineup for John Gibbons. Troy Tulowitzki continues to bat in the leadoff spot. Donaldson Bautista, then Edwin Encarnacion. He was back in the lineup for the first time since last Saturday. In last night's game, he extended his hit streak to 12 straight games. He's hit .405 during that hit streak with 8 extra base hits. Chris Colomelo gets the start at first base because he's hit well against the Yankees this season. 8 for 12 against New York. He is back in the lineup today to take on Masahiro Tanaka.
Starts his 17th game of the season tonight. Tanaka's pitching on an extended 5 days rest. He missed some time earlier this season. He was on the disabled list from April the 29th through June the 3rd with right wrist tendonitis and a right forearm strain. Last start against the Blue Jays, only allowed 3 base runners, but still lost that game to Toronto.
That was last Saturday in New York. He is pitching back-to-back starts against the same ball club. Same as Nova last night. Both of Nova's last 2 starts came against the Blue Jays. This is Troy Tulowitzki. Boy, what an at-bat he had last night. A 12-pitch at-bat that ended in a strikeout and ended the ball game, but he put up quite a fight. Fly ball to right. Beltran backed up a couple of steps. He is there and makes the catch. 1 down. Little different look in the outfield tonight for this afternoon for the Yankees. Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, Carlos Beltran did not start in last night's game. Headley, Gregorius, Stephen Drew is back at second. Greg Bird, the rookie, starts at first, and John Ryan Murphy is behind the plate to give McCann the day off.
At the end of last season, Greg Bird was the 4th best prospect in the Yankee organization. He's got a good glove. He will rotate with Mark Teixeira and A-Rod through the first base DH duties for the rest of the season for the Yankees. This is just his 2nd big league start.
Josh Donaldson takes a strike from Masahiro Tanaka. And Donaldson, he hit a home run against Tanaka on Saturday in his first at-bat. That came with 1 out in the top of the first. Opposite field home run into the Yankees bullpen in New York.
Fastball out over the plate, and you can see now he's throwing him a couple of cutters to get him swinging early in the count.
Working him away as Donaldson lays off that pitch. It's 2-1. Donaldson was 1 for 4 in the game last night. Blue Jays managed just 6 hits against the Yankees. Ivan Nova really pitched well, pitched them tough. Bouncing ball. Headley comes in and takes the short hop. Across the diamond in time. 2 down. Masahiro Tanaka in his 2nd season in the major leagues, and he has gotten off to a great start in his young career.
Well, you mentioned that he's been tough on the Blue Jays. He's tough because look at all the pitches that he can feature. A fastball, he's got a great splitter, a slider and a cutter combination, a curveball and a changeup, a little bit of everything. And he commands all of them, and he keeps them down. Blue Jays haven't been swinging the bats really well. There's an off-speed pitch. The last 4 ball games between these 2 teams, I thought the pitching's been outstanding. It has shut down 2 of the best hitting teams in the American League.
2 outs to Bautista. He took that first pitch. Takes the 2nd pitch. Fastball. It's a ball and a strike. Jose having another terrific offensive season. 27 homers and 80 RBIs. Outside off the plate. Tanaka has given up 18 home runs this season. That's more than his entire total from last year. He allowed just 15 home runs. And lately, home runs have really been a problem for him. He's given up 14 home runs in his last 9 starts. There's a base hit to left field. Bautista got a pitch up in the zone, and he jumped all over the 2-out single.
You know, I think one of the reasons why he's been giving up his share of home runs is not throwing as hard as he did last year. Remember, we saw him make his major league debut against the Blue Jays. This time, a little 4-seam fastball out over the middle of the plate, and Jose whacks it into left field for a base hit. sure that elbow, he's had some elbow problems over the last couple of seasons, and so he's trying to protect that, so he's not throwing as hard as he did last year when we saw him.
Yeah, the report is that he has a partial torn ulnar collateral ligament. That's the Tommy John ligament. Edwin Encarnacion. He drives this ball to right. Beltran back at the wall, makes the catch. One stride short of the fence in right. Encarnacion gave it a ride, but Tanaka is through the first. The Yankees have a 1-0 lead. Is always trying to improve his ball club, but it all started back in November.
What a month in November Alex Anthopoulos, the general manager of the Blue Jays, had. It started with the trade for Marco Estrada from the Milwaukee Brewers for Adam Lynn, followed by Devin Travis coming over from the Tigers for Anthony Ghost. Next it was Russell Martin, who was signed on the 18th, and then to finish it all off on November the 28th, he traded for Josh Donaldson, completely turning over the roster, the makeup within this ball club. A great month last November for Alex Anthopoulos, and he's kept it going, I think, throughout the rest of the season. I think his July was pretty good too this year.
Absolutely, it was pretty good. He had the best trade period acquisitions in all of baseball. This is Greg Bird, the rookie, playing at first base this afternoon. Pops this one back out of play. The Yankees went several years without producing any homegrown talent, and they have refocused their attention to the minor league system once again, and Bird is up out of the minor leagues.
And Brian Cashman, the general manager of the Yankees, had chances to acquire certain players for his big league club, but he would have had to give up some of those good players out of their farm system, and he didn't want to do it.
This is popped up. Yonder Navarro flips the mask away, battles the sun, and makes the catch. Estrada using that changeup early had Bird out on that front foot.
Last start against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium last week, we didn't see that changeup till the second time through the lineup against the Yankees. He was basically fastball curveball early on, then introduced it the second time through, pitched into the 7th inning.
So with one out, it'll be the Yankees shortstop, Didi Gregorius. Boy, has he been hot. Over his last 65 games, he's hit 300. He came into a tough situation taking over at shortstop for the New York Yankees after the captain, Derek Jeter, retired. But after that slow start, things have come together for Gregorius.
Boy, that in itself's got to be a lot of pressure on a young player. He's 25 years old, taking over for a legend in New York.
Ball on the strike to the shortstop, batting .264 for the season. A little bit too much movement from Navarro as he yanked that glove back toward the plate, but it was well inside. Home plate umpire is Jordan Baker. Estrada's strength, according to Navarro, is his ability to locate that fastball. He said he can locate his pitches as well as Mark Buehrle, and that's high praise.
If you can do that, if you can use that fastball and put it where you need to, I think it just sets everything else up.
There's another good fastball. Gregorius slops it to the third baseman, 2 down.
Well, let's take a look at the scouting report this afternoon for Marco Estrada. What he features, his fastball throw, 51% of the time you can see. You don't have to throw 95 to get major league hitters out. It's all about location and changing speeds, and he does that with his fastball and his changeup primarily. He's been mixing in the curveball just a little bit more. We have seen that percentage start to elevate this season, and then he'll mix in a cutter at 8% of the time. That's just to get the ball off the barrel of the bat. He'll throw it to righties and the lefties. But right now, Marco has been a 3-pitch pitcher, and using that curveball just a little bit more has really elevated his game.
John Ryan Murphy catching today for Brian McCann, giving McCann the day off. Murphy's done a nice job swinging the bat lately. Over his last 11 games, he has 11 hits, 3 extra base hits, and 5 RBIs. Change up, lifted into the air. Long run for Revere, and he will get there and make the catch. Boy, that ball kept carrying on Revere. Looked like a routine fly ball. But his speed allowed him to run it down on the warning track. This is an area where the Blue Jays defense has really improved. Defensive play in left, another good one by Revere.
Hey, Buck, I was lucky enough to spend some time with Japanese interpreter Shingo Hori earlier this morning, and I asked him how well adjusted Tanaka was to life in North America during the baseball season. And he said last year he was just overwhelmed by all the attention in Japan and in the United States. But as he heads into his sophomore campaign, he says he feels a lot more comfortable regarding his routine and his schedule. He knows what he has to do and where he has to go. As far as communication, Shingo shared with me that Tanaka is a great listener. He actually picked up 80% of the English language at the end of last season. He understands the language very well, but he just has a little bit of trouble communicating it verbally. As far as life outside of baseball, he said he loves to golf and he loves to fish. He does a great deal of that during spring training in Tampa. But above all, Buck, Shingo shared with me that Tanaka loves spending time in the clubhouse with his teammates and just being, quote unquote, one of the boys.
He is just 26 years old, and he signed a 7-year contract after a terrific career in Japan. He was posted by his team in Japan, the Rakuten Golden Eagles, and the Yankees paid that posting fee and then signed him to a lucrative contract. Chris Colabello. Line drive off the glove of Drew into center field. Colabello continues to wear out Yankee pitching. That's his 9th hit this season. in 13 at-bats.
Swinging a hot bat against the Yankees, finding holes all over the place, even when they throw a defender exactly where you hit the baseball. Stephen Drew, that's why you move those guys around like that. He is right in line with that baseball, but he just can't come up with it. He's not tall enough. His reach wasn't far enough, and Colabello's got another hit.
So Tanaka will work out of the stretch. Gianna Navarro, the switch-hitting catcher. Navarro began his career with the Yankees. Gianna is now 31 years old. Gianna came up with the Yankees in 2005 for the last month of the season. He sat in the bullpen with the bullpen catcher Gary Tuck. And Gianna says, "Gary, am I going to play?" He goes, "No. You're just going to write notes down, chart the pitches, learn how to call a game." And he's done that very well. That was in 2004 at the end of the season. He came up, actually got into 5 games, but spent the month just learning about the big leagues. And Gary Tuck gave him a pitching chart, told him to chart the pitches and study why pitchers are doing certain things. 0-2 to Navarro. Off the plate inside.
I liken that to like a rookie quarterback coming up to the NFL. He spent his whole career in college, and now he's going to make the transition to the big leagues. In football, you got to sit there and learn. You got to learn what it takes to get guys out. It's a great little story about Navarro. He's learned the lesson.
Well, he sure has. He's become a terrific game caller. Inside. Yankees have a 1-0 lead. We're in the bottom of the second. Chris Colabello at first with a leadoff single. Pulled on the ground. Bird bobbles it, and that will be a break for the Blue Jays. His first game on this turf, the ball handcuffed him, and all they can get is the 1 out at first. Colabello moves to second.
Looked like he was ready to try and get that force out at second base. Just got ahead of himself a little bit, and when that last bounce came to him, it came up on him right there, so he can only record the out over at first base, and Blue Jays have a runner in scoring position. Got to come in and get that ball. Can't lay back on this carpet, or it's going to do that on you.
Hit him in the chest, and he's lucky the ball stayed right at his feet so he could record the out. Kevin Pillar bats with a runner in scoring position. Bouncing ball, and Colabello is hung up between second and third. Now they've got him in a rundown, and here's Pillar going to second, and he's safe. The Yankees want to look at it as Stephen Drew stayed put at second. Headley came off the bag at third after tagging Colabello for the out. He threw to second quickly. Pillar hustling, trying to get into scoring position, and they called him safe at second.
One more time, you got to make sure that ball gets by the pitcher. If it doesn't now, you got to get into a rundown, and you got to stay in it long enough so that runner can just switch spaces with you. The Yankees execute that perfectly by cutting down the distance between the runners. Pillar sees the rundown now. He's going to hustle and try and get into scoring position. I don't think they're going to take a look at this one, but the Yankees' execution of that, they squeezed that runner. So you only want to make one throw. They did it, and they almost came up with a double play.
Colabello got caught out in no man's land, and Tanaka went to Gregorius, who finished it off with Headley. So now Pillar's at second, 2 outs for Goins.
You know, that's something that you practice every day in spring training. Watch the third baseman, Chase Headley, get to the inside And when the ball is released, he's staying. Now watch him come. He's squeezing that runner. There's no place for him. And the Yankees executed with one throw and almost come up with the double play. That was perfect.
No balls and a strike to Ryan Goins. And they made a terrific play, quickly tagging Colabello. Bouncing ball, big hop for Gregorius. He's got a terrific arm, and the Blue Jays get a leadoff single, but can't take advantage of that. We'll go to the third. Yankees have a 1-0 lead.
Live or on demand in true HD. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and much more. It also includes a free At-Bat 15 subscription. Watch baseball at home, at the office, or on the go. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. But with all these pennant races going on, fans can watch more than one game at once, and that is great to keep up.
Barry, the Blue Jays after this game will have 44 games left to their season, and you can bet there's going to be a lot of excitement from here on in. This is Stephen Drew, the second baseman, in the 9th spot. Drew did not play in the game last night. Getting under 200 for the season, but he's got 15 home runs. Only Brian Dozier has more home runs as a second baseman in the major leagues. Dozier of the Twins has 24.
Talk about all or nothing. Stephen Drew under 200, but he's got 15 bombs.
Pulls this one high and deep, but well foul. That'll go into the second deck. Drew really had a tough season a year ago, as he didn't sign until the middle of the season and missed out on all of spring training and never really got it going with the bat. Strike three called, and Drew knew it. Estrada records his first strikeout of the afternoon. Well, the Blue Jays have really had great pitching over the last 16 games, and the numbers reflect that. And to a man, they have all done their fair share.
You're going to win or stay in a lot of games when you get this type of pitching. Opponent's batting average of 209, a very good whip. The Blue Jays have won 14 of those 16 ball games. The only two losses are losses where they had the lead late in the ball game and coughed up the lead. They had a 4-run lead and then a 3-run lead in last night's game. But you get that kind of pitching, you play the defense, you'll figure out ways to score enough runs to win.
The starters have allowed 3 runs or less in 18 straight games. Over that span, a .255 earned run average. That ties the franchise record for longest streak. Why they started allowing 3 runs or less. The last time they did that was back in 1991. Now, I'll give you the 5-man rotation in a second. There's some interesting names in that rotation in 91. It's a fly ball. Bautista to his right. The ball's carrying, and he's not going to get there. Ellsbury is on the run. The ball gets away from Bautista, and Ellsbury will end up at third. Boy, the ball has really been carrying, and the outfielders have been fooled lately. I don't know that Bautista had a legitimate shot at that ball as it took off, and he kind of had a flat angle toward it.
Yeah, the route, the balls have been just on a jet stream going out to right field. Watch Jose cut over, then back, and then over again, and the ball just kept carrying away from him. Jose's been fooled a couple of times in his homestand, on balls that have been hit to right field.
We saw Josh Reddick of the A's have similar problems on those hard hit balls to right. So now the infield will have to come in with Brett Gardner at the plate. 1 out, and Ellsbury at third with his second triple of the season. Yankees lead it 1-0. Downstairs, Josh Donaldson is always jockeying with the runners at third in these situations, and he's going through all of the different signs and jockeying about trying to get into Ellsbury's head.
Yeah, I don't know if those were fake signs, but he's looking right at Navarro and giving him those signs like he's going to put something on.
Good changeup. If you can get Ellsbury to take 1 step back toward third and there's a ball hit on the infield, that'll improve your chances of making a play on it.
We'll see what the Yankees do here, but you're right, it's tough to run that contact play when you've got that third baseman darting behind you, or the catcher threatening to throw down there. They've picked a couple of runners off this season at third base.
Changeup by the way out in front. Obviously, this is a situation you want to pop up or a strikeout. You don't want the ball being put into play, especially anything to the outfield. The Yankees click when these two get on base. Ellsbury and Gardner.
Well, do they ever? They were on base 3 times combined last night.
Changeup. Ellsbury, surprised by that, is caught looking.
Yeah, I think Gardner wasn't really expecting that changeup, the 3rd straight changeup from Marco Estrada, and it freezes him. Watch him, he goes after it, takes it, and he's hoping the umpire doesn't call it, but it's right there. A big strikeout for Estrada.
Well, I think you're right on the money. He didn't expect 3 changeups in a row. 2 outs now. Carlos Beltran. Navarro came out of the chute, but Donaldson was off third.
Beltran broke a tie with Larry Walker, last night's home run all time. He had 383, a tie with Larry Walker for 65th all time. He then broke the tie with Harold Baines, and now is tied with Dwight Evans with 385 career home runs. That's 62nd all time.
Three and 0 to Beltran, and you can bet he's got the green light if he sees something he likes.
Certainly does. The way he has been swinging the bat and powering the ball out of the ballpark.
Ball 4th. So Beltran will walk. That's the 2nd walk issued to the Yankees this afternoon. Teixeira walked in the 1st. 2 outs now for Teixeira. One and 0 to Teixeira, 2 outs. Ellsbury at third. He had the 1-out triple. Just off the plate. 2-0.
Yankee hitters have been patient. I thought they were very patient in last night's game against David Price, really working the counts.
They got a bunch of veteran hitters that they're scuffling right now, and it's hard to hit when you're chasing borderline pitches. Teixeira loops it into right. Goins is out. Oh, what an effort! Ryan Goins, the only one that had a chance to make a play on that. He was deep in the shift and runs it down in shallow right center. That saves a run for Estrada. A determined run. Goins knows he's the only one that's got a shot at it. He makes the play to save a run.
Here at the Rogers Center, the Blue Jays will be facing every one of the East Division opponents as they continue to search for a wild card spot or possibly a division title. Blue Jays tickets, you can get them at bluejays.com, but right now I would suggest you go and get them fast. I am here out in the flight deck in center field, the WestJet flight deck, and fans are congregating here to enjoy the game. A great view from out here, and the beautiful thing is if you are lucky enough to have a ticket for the game, you are free to come out here and enjoy the ball game. But as I mentioned, Buck, tickets are going very, very fast. So if you want to come down and see the Blue Jays as they make that quest for the postseason, it's just getting online and ordering them right now.
It's always a good tip, Barry, because the schedule is going to wind down very quickly, and you're going to see all the AL East teams here in September.
Heck, while you're here, just drop by the box office and pick up a few.
Ben Revere, number 9 hitter, starting things off here in the third. One ball, 2 strikes, the leadoff man in the third, Masahiro Tanaka. 26-year-old starter. Tanaka, of course, in his second season. He's 21-10 in 36 career starts. That puts him in company with some of the greats, recording 21 wins in his first 35 major league starts. Pulled on the ground, foul. Cal Everett of the Brewers won 22 games in his first 35 starts, as did Jim Turner of the Boston Braves in the 40s. And then Masahiro Tanaka with 21 wins in his first 35 starts. He's tied with Spud Chandler, Yu Darvish, Boo Ferris, and the Bird, Mark Fidrich, in 76. Another bouncing ball. Tim Leipert makes a fan very happy with a souvenir.
Isn't that what it's all about? If you're a pitcher, to get out there and just win ball games. I mean, there's no question. He had a great career when he was in Japan, but he came over here and he has melded right into Major League Baseball.
Well, he sure has, and you know there have been just a few pitchers that have made a very successful transition. Of course, Hideo Nomo, very successful when he first came over. It's a fastball. Yu Darvish is now out with that Tommy John surgery. He too made an easy transition to the major leagues.
Yankees have had other pitchers from the Pacific Rim to come and pitch for him, but none of them have had the success that this guy has had.
Hideki Irabu was a highly touted starting pitcher that came over with the Yankees early on, but he didn't pan out. Another 1-2 pitch. Tanaka is set. Looked like a pretty good pitch. Tanaka didn't get to come. We haven't seen Revere use his speed yet. He hasn't had a chance to run much. Good eye, takes it, that runs the count, full count.
Surprised he's throwing and breaking balls with that guy on deck right there. He doesn't want to walk him and try to set up a big inning for the Blue Jays. Got to challenge him right here.
So 1-0 Yankee lead. He went around. He threw him another breaking pitch, and Revere strikes out.
Shortstop number 2, Troy Tulowitzki.
It's Junior J's this Saturday, and it's presented by Boston Pizza. Each Saturday at Junior J gets to introduce the players. Just one of the many fun activities taking place on Junior J's Saturday. It's all presented by Boston Pizza. Of course, there are kids that are introduced with the starting lineup that take their spot on the foul line to acknowledge the national anthem. It's always a good treat for the kids. Tanaka finds that outside corner on Tulowitzki. Pulled on the ground. Didi Gregorius throws out Tulowitzki. We mentioned Junior J's Saturday and the tradition of the kids being introduced along with the players. Mark Burley was out today to acknowledge the anthem, and he helped out some young kids saying, you know what, national anthems are playing, and we take off our ball caps. So Burley, playing the role of father and mentor, does a good job with those two youngsters today.
You can always learn something on the ball field, right? Take the hat off there for the anthems.
Those two kids were just thrilled to be standing on the field with Blue Jays. Now they know. Josh Donaldson grounded out to third. Donaldson thought that might have been off the plate, so he's got to reassess his strike zone. Perfect pitch down and away.
Tanaka's making some good pitches against the Blue Jays. He hasn't made too many mistakes at all here in the first couple of innings.
That's exactly what you want to do. After throwing strike one down and away, just move it off the plate a little bit further. You might get the hitter to chase, and you might get the umpire to call. Boy, he's staying outside away from Donaldson. Remember, Donaldson hit an opposite field home run off of Tanaka the last time these two met in New York.
That was on a fastball that was down and away, and he stayed right with it. Hit it into their bullpen. Tanaka's got great stuff, but he's got control of all of those pitches. I mean, those are pitches right on the edges. It looked like that third pitch might have been able to call a strike. I wonder if he takes a chance to just buzz one inside.
Tanaka has a wide assortment of pitches. Staying away. John Ryan Murphy is catching in place of the regular Brian McCann, and sometimes it can be challenging when you have a pitcher that has so many pitches. You're not really sure what you want.
Plus, look at all the signs they're going through. They're acting like there's a runner on second base. They're going through the different sets of signs. Really slowing everything down.
That's a slow breaking ball, and it finds the outside corner. Full count, 2 outs. Bautista will be next. Ball 4. So Donaldson works Tanaka for the 2-out walk. It's the first walk that Tanaka has given up today. That'll bring Bautista to the plate. Jose singled sharply through the left side of the infield with 2 outs in the first. Looks like Tanaka this inning, this time through the batting order, is going to work the meat of the order away.
Try and pitch away from their power with a 1-run lead. But you're right, he's got so many different ways that he could try and get you out. He's not going to fall into any pattern that the Blue Jays can pick up on.
Bautista pops it high into foul ground. Murphy, the catcher, is there, and Bird was right there with him, but Murphy makes the catch. That ends the inning. Blue Jays get a 2-out walk. Donaldson is stranded on base. We'll go to the 4th. The Yankees lead it 1-0.
Presented by the 2015 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful Saturday afternoon here at Rogers Center. Another good ball game, and the pitching has been dominant the last 2 series for these 2 ball clubs.
Have they ever? You know, we were expecting a big scoring series in New York, and we got great pitchers duels. Deep bullpens and good starting pitching. And we're getting the same thing here in the first 2 games.
Yeah, I think this time of the year the pitchers can dominate. They're in great shape, and the hitter's a little bit tired in August. Chase Headley goes after the first pitch changeup. We mentioned the Blue Jays are currently riding a pitching streak in which their starters have gone 18 straight games, allowing 3 earned runs or less. That ties the franchise record, which also came 18 straight games in '91. And I promised to give you the rotation of that '91 team. Dave Stieb, Jimmy Key, Todd Stottlemyre, David Wells, and the 5th name is kind of a surprise, Denny Boucher. Boucher was in the rotation there. Of course, Denny's now enjoyed a great career as a scout and a talent evaluator and a pitching coach for the Canadian national team. But this particular pitching staff has matched them now with 18 straight games with 3 earned runs or less.
I should remember that. I was on that team.
You were always worried about hitting, though.
That's true.
No
Juan Guzman in that.
No, that was in May. Early May 5th to the 25th, '91.
I know Dave got injured at some point in that season and had to go to the disabled list. I wonder if that's when Juan Guzman came up.
Full count to Chase Headley. Boy, the Yankees really have been patient. They've taken a lot of close pitches. Rookie first baseman Greg Bird is on deck. Ground ball. Tulowitzki was playing in the shift. It's an easy play for him. He's retired 6-3 on the ground out.
You know, both of these teams to this afternoon are really working over those pitchers and making them come to them. Yankees, I thought, in that series against the Blue Jays last weekend in New York, uncharacteristically swung in a lot of first pitches, a lot of pitches early in the count. It's almost like they're making an effort to take more pitches and grind it out like they did 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, and it's a very patient approach we're seeing from New York this afternoon. Strata jumps ahead with a curveball strike. Ball is lifted in the air to center field. Pilar is there. 2 quick outs here in the 4th. You remember last week when we went into New York, the headlines in the newspaper and all the comments were, well, this isn't such a big series for the Yankees. We don't care about the standings. It doesn't make any difference. We just want to play good baseball. Then they were swept. Then they come into this atmosphere here last night. It was a totally different story. They were behind by a half a game. Alex Rodriguez said when he hit the field last night to get loose for the start of the game, he thought it was 1994 all over again. Didi Gregorius fouls it off. Alex told me this morning, he said, I came out to get loose, and I kept looking around for Joe Carter and Robbie Alomar. He said the atmosphere reminded me of that '94 season after they'd won the World Series for a second time.
That's exactly what it felt like. The energy in the ballpark, the team that's in first place, and great baseball. Last night's game, I mean, there were so many things that happened in the game. It was a lot of fun to be around.
All the Yankees were talking about it. Of course, Beltran had the big hit. Tulowitzki had a terrific battle against Andrew Miller, and Miller ultimately won that matchup. But it was a playoff atmosphere for sure. Andrew Miller talked about the 9th inning, how they had several meetings on the mound. They wanted to talk pitch count, and they wanted to protect their signs.
Yep. And they gave him everything he had to Troy Tulowitzki. He said, I was going to throw him my best sliders. And he did. He ended up winning that battle. 12 pitch at bat. Epic at bat.
Yeah, and that's another thing Rodriguez talked about. He said, how about that last out of the ball game? I mean, you know, we forget that these ball players, they're fans too. And they love to see great matchups. We had them all over the field last night. up. Goins makes an easy play of it. 3 up, 3 down. Estrada retires the side in order. Now it's time for the Blue Jays to figure out Masahiro Tanaka, Encarnacion, Colabello, and Navarro.
Of baseball experts take you beyond the game at Sportsnet. Follow along on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram using the hashtag Blue Jays. And the more the Blue Jays win, the more people are getting on the Twitter, Buck, and they have their opinions. And it's been great to see all the real positive reaction to what's been happening with the Toronto Blue Jays lately.
And there's no negative reaction?
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of that, especially after last night's loss, but I will not share any of that with you.
Absolutely. When there's no repercussions about what you say on Twitter, everybody will say whatever they think. This is Edwin Encarnacion. He's got a 12-game hit streak. Well, the Yankees are really playing Encarnacion to shift, and I agree with it on the infield. Not so sure about the outfield. There is a gap between Ellsbury and Beltran that you could drive a truck through.
And if they're going to pitch him away like that, we've seen Edwin drive balls to right center field.
This one's a shot down the left field line. Gardner plays it off the wall. Encarnacion's going to have to hustle. The throw is offline. Edwin, a leadoff double here in the fourth. 13 straight now for Encarnacion.
Same type of swing that we saw from Edwin in last night's ball game to record a hit in 12 straight. It was a double down the left field line. That looked like a splitter that was up, and he hammers it into the corner. Gardner got over very quickly. And as a runner here, you come around first base, and that throw is going to make you stop. You can read that throw, and Edwin does a good job of reading that throw that was offline, and he cruises into second base with a double.
Chris Colabello had a single to start the second. He was erased in a rundown between second and third. Goes after the first pitch and pulls it in the hole. Gregorius has a terrific arm, and Colabello would like to have that at bat all over again as he pulled it to the left side, and Encarnacion has to stay put.
Looks like Tanaka took a little something off of that one and had Colabello out in front. Hideo Gregorius is impressive, I think, at shortstop. He moves well, he's got quick feet, soft hands, and he's always got that good arm. That time that was a long throw, and he made it look easy.
Well, he's got great range and a terrific arm to back up that range. Gianna Navarro grounded out to the first baseman in his only at bat. The Blue Jays haven't been able to string any at-bats together. Coming into this inning, they have scored in just 6 of their last 36 innings. Even though they had that win streak, they have not been able to have sustained offensive production.
And a lot of close games also because of that. They're running into some good pitching. We've said that a few times here on this show, that good pitching is going to shut down good hitting. So what the Blue Jays, I think, are going to have to do when they get a leadoff double, they're going to have to play good, sound, fundamental baseball. Move the runner, run the bases well. Don't make any mistakes out there.
Blue Jays only scored in the third inning in last night's game. And then on Thursday afternoon, they only scored in the second inning. Navarro fouls it off.
If you have opportunities that are few and far between, you have to capitalize on them. So you have to do the little things. If you're asked to bunt runners over, get out there and bunt that runner over. If you got to try and score that run from third base with less than 2 outs, get a pitch that you can handle, get it into the outfield, hit the ball to the right side. Those are all the little things that you can do to scratch out runs.
1-2 now. Another off-speed pitch, and Navarro strikes out. Just the second strikeout for Tanaka, but it's a big strikeout here in the fourth.
It certainly is against a player, Leonard Navarro, who's come up with a lot of good base hits and clutch hits for the Blue Jays. This time, this one a little bit over anxious on this ball in the dirt. Swings over the top of it.
Now, Navarro is 0 for 2. He'll turn things over to Kevin Pillar. Pillar reached on a fielder's choice, and that was the ball in which Colabello was caught in the rundown. Looked like just a get-ahead fastball, kind of a batting practice fastball. Pillar taking all the way. It's a little looper into right. It's trouble. Here comes Beltran. He makes a knee-high catch. Carlos Beltran, the veteran, read it well off the bat. He saves a run for New York. It's 1-0. We head to the fifth. Now time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
Barclays Premier League, Bundesliga, Euro 2016 qualifiers, FA Cup, and more. Contact your local television provider to subscribe today at sportsnet.ca/world for more details. And no bigger sports soccer fan at Sportsnet than our own Jeff Blair. Guys, could not get his eyes off the TV in the lunchroom today watching European soccer, and he is pumped for Bundesliga to begin next week or tomorrow.
It's great worldwide sport, there's no doubt about it, and it's gaining a lot of interest here in North America for sure. Another great 1-0 ball game. The pitchers have been dominant throughout these last two series between the Yankees and the Blue Jays, and these are the best two-hitting lineups in the American League. John Ryan Murphy goes after the first pitch. The catcher flies out to Bautista. You know, they always say good pitching will shut down good hitting on any given day, but it never has changed. You know, hitting is hard. You know, no matter what you think about going up there and doing a particular thing at the plate, it's hard. The pitcher doesn't want you to hit it, and he certainly knows what you're trying to do. So if you execute your pitches, chances are you're going to be effective.
I heard that saying when I was a young boy, especially around the time of the New York Mets, you know, the Tom Seavers and the Jerry Kuzmans and all that. And I didn't understand what it meant. I was only 10 or 12 years old at the time. I was like, well, if you can hit, you can hit. But as I grew into baseball and started watching more baseball, I understood that great pitching, when you pitch like that, you're always going to shut down great hitters. And I watched great hitting from Cincinnati with the Big Red Machine, and whenever they ran into pitchers like Tom Seaver and Juan Marichal, those great pitchers, they shut them down.
They didn't hit.
It's too hard. Hitting is too hard. And if you've got great pitching, it's going to shut you down when you're on your game.
Stephen Drew takes one, bounces in front of home plate. You know what, in Chew, I think once you leave the field, and I found this true when I went into broadcasting, I sat up here for the first time, I went, man, why didn't he catch that ball? And then you realize how much slower the game is the farther from the field you get. And I really learned that once I got into the dugout and managed again, because it reminded me how quick the game was. Once you go back down on the field, you go, oh my God, this game is flying. Pitchers are quick, they make great pitches, the ball travels through the infield at an unbelievable speed, but the further you get away from the dirt, the easier the game becomes.
The smarter you become, right?
Well, it's easy to sit up here from our perch and kind of look at the players and say, well, man, he should have got to that ball. But then you get down on the field and you see how much ground he has to cover and how quickly the balls get through the infield.
And how good these players are and how hard it is to play the game of baseball.
2-2 pitch to Drew. Downstairs, it's a full count. Top of the order, Jacoby Ellsbury's hit a triple. Came in the third, but he was stranded as the Yankees couldn't push him home. Ground ball. Tulowitzki positioned perfectly. 2 outs.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Top of the fifth, back to the top of the Yankees batting order, Jacoby Ellsbury. He didn't like that call. He jumped back expecting it to be a ball. That changeup, another good changeup from Estrada. Ellsbury hooks it, but well foul into the seats. We mentioned the November acquisition of Marco Estrada. That came in exchange for Adam Lynn, a longtime Blue Jay DH first baseman outfielder. And Estrada last season with Milwaukee, 7 wins and 6 losses. A fly ball to center. Pilar has room, using the glove to shade his eyes and runs it down. Just into the shadows of the roof in center field. 3 up, 3 down. Estrada has settled in.
Bell, Barfield, and Mosby, and your chance to meet them comes Monday, August 17th from noon to 1:30 at Jay's Shop at Toronto Eaton Centre. No lineups prior to 10 a.m. and only 1 autograph per person, no posed photos. Tonight, the entire group that are in town will be at a dinner in downtown Toronto. Buck, I am fortunate enough to be hosting that and emceeing, and I'll be interviewing you, and I'm curious to know if you called play-by-play from the dugout when you were a player. Was that one of those things that you had aspirations of back in your playing days?
Never thought about it one bit, Barry.
Well, there
I had enough trouble playing. Well, the Blue Jays will bat in the bottom of the 5th. They can't figure out Masahiro Tanaka. And he's thrown the kitchen sink at him here this afternoon. The Blue Jays in this series 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position, and they've stranded 11. Haven't been able to come up with a big hit. During their 11-game win streak, they hit .318 with runners in scoring position. They got timely hits and lots of them.
Timely hits. They hit a lot of home runs also. But they were facing the Yankees last weekend. They faced Oakland, who had the best team ERA in the American League. Now they get the Yankees again in this big series, so they're running into some good pitching.
Well, they're going to see a lot of that down the stretch. There's no question about that. We mentioned that after today's game, the Blue Jays will have 44 games left on their schedule. (3-0) to Ryan Goins. Ball 4. A forward pitch. Walk. Well, these two ball clubs have traded places. Blue Jays started this series last night at a half-game lead. New York won. Now the Jays are in second. Baltimore 5 games back. Tampa Bay 5.5, and the Red Sox, they're starting to show life now. Of course, they got the terrible news of their manager, John Farrell, is battling stage 1 lymphoma. So he's going to be out the rest of the season, and we want to send our best wishes to John Farrell and his family.
Did an interview today for one of the New York stations, and they were asking me about this race in the American League East. I said it's going to go down to last weekend. You just know it is.
And Revere not showing bunt, and Chase Headley was expecting bunt. The third baseman well in on the grass.
This is the combination, I think, that worked for the Blue Jays last night. They played hit and run with Ben Revere. Kevin Pillar was at first base.
Past Headley into left field. Boy, there's the advantage, that threat of a bunt. Headley's range was limited. He was well in front of the bag at third. He didn't have the reaction time to make a play on that.
Ball was on him before he knew it. And Revere shot the ball to left field yesterday on that hit and run, and it was successful. This time he takes that fastball away from him, and that's 2 bounces by Headley, and it's off his glove. He catches that, and it's probably a double play, but it's off the glove down the left field line. He's hit for Revere. Now the Blue Jays got the first 2 runners on here.
Boy, if he's back in his normal position at third, that's a routine double play. First and second, nobody out. Back to the top of the order. Off the plate outside. Going all the way back to July 21st, Troy Tulowitzki in his last 20 games is hitting 169, 13 for 77. All 3 of his home runs since the 21st of July have come as a Blue Jay. Continues to stay away from the big hitters.
Blue Jays showing some patience now, laying off of that pitch, and it's off the plate.
Remember, Tanaka's had problems with the long ball coming into this game. He allowed 14 home runs in his last 9 starts. The Blue Jays took him deep twice in New York last Saturday.
I think he knows that too. So he's trying to place that fastball in the outside corner, and he falls behind Tulowitzki 3-0.
It doesn't get any easier for Tanaka.
Give him the green light right here.
Absolutely.
3-0. He's struggling to throw strikes. He can load one and knock it out of here. And he throws him a breaking ball.
He didn't want anything to do with the Blue Jays inside right now. Larry Rothschild will go to the mound, and he'll be joined by Tanaka's interpreter. Obviously, pivotal point of this ball game.
Well, you're going to have to be very careful with Josh Donaldson because he's already touched up Tanaka 1 time this year. You can see where they wanted to go fastball away, and it stayed a little bit in, but Donaldson did a good job of fighting that ball off of him and driving that ball out of the ballpark to right field. And after a couple of walks and a hit by Revere, you've got to believe that Josh Donaldson's geared up right here for this first pitch.
The one thing Donaldson has done in these situations is he just has a good at-bat. He doesn't try to hit the dramatic home run. He has a good approach. He doesn't come out of his approach.
Don't want to overswing here. You want to make sure it's a good pitch and then just put a good swing on it.
The one thing that veteran hitters are aware of, that it's the pitcher that's in a jam, not the hitter.
He's got to come to you. He's got to be able to make that pitch, and if you just stay within yourself, don't try and do too much. Just tell yourself you're going to hit the ball hard somewhere.
The Yankees lead 1-0. The Blue Jays have the bases loaded and nobody out. To left. Goins is tagging at third. Gardner makes the catch. The throw will go to third, and Donaldson has tied it up.
He came within a whisker of knocking that ball out of the ballpark. It looked like Tanaka took just a little bit off of that ball to mess up the timing for Josh Donaldson. 2-0. Looked like he might have been geared for a little something with a little something more on it, but he got enough of the bat on the ball to drive it out there to tie it up.
Run producers will come through in those situations, and Donaldson does it again. His 86th ribby of the season. That leads the majors. Bautista is 1 for 2. Boy, it just looks like the Blue Jay hitters can eliminate the inner half of the plate now against Tanaka.
Everything, especially to the right-handers, has been away. Away.
Tanaka has walked 2 this inning. Goins with the leadoff walk has come in to score. This is the 9th sellout crowd of the season for the Blue Jays, and the fans have packed the house with the Yankees in town. Bautista strikes out. May have been that splitter down. 3 strikeouts for Tanaka.
Comes up with a big one right there against Bautista. Hit the ball hard today. It's time. It is the splitter. That's the one where you really have to tell yourself, if you recognize splitter out of his hand and it's down low, you got to take it because it's going to tumble out of the strike zone.
Edwin Encarnacion had a leadoff double in the 4th. But he was stuck on second, never advanced. Boy, Edwin is really seeing the ball well. Even though he missed several games with that hand injury, he has picked it up right where he left off. The double in the 4th was his 23rd double of the season.
Boy, it's almost like you have to make perfect pitches to get these guys out, and that was a good one right there.
Just a little purpose pitch there as he pushed Encarnacion off the plate with that fastball. Tulowitzki at first, Revere at second. Blue Jays have scored a run here in the 5th. Stephen Drew will get there and make the catches. Tanaka came inside once again to Retire Encarnacion. It's a 1-1 ball game. We head to the 6th. And here comes the Home Hardware cleanup crew. Brought to you by Home Hardware.
Comfort Zone, and today guests are enjoying a seat upgrade courtesy of TD. While over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse are folks from the Hamilton Boys and Girls Clubs. And but speaking of Hamilton, we had a very special guest of mine on the field yesterday, a guy by the name of Andrew Nielsen. He has cerebral palsy. He can't speak at all, but he was on the field, and Chris Colabello took him out to meet the entire team, and he was absolutely overwhelmed. And we don't realize just how much these guys go about to make some kids and some guys just so happy, and it made his day, and it was very little effort from the team, but once again it just shows the class of the players in this organization.
Well, it sure does, Barry, and they do it a lot. We see it behind the scenes all the time when they are saying hello to youngsters and old people alike that might not have the best of fortunes, but the Blue Jay players are very good at that. This is the left fielder, Brett Gardner. He's 0 for 2 so far. 1-1 ball game. Another well-pitched game by Marco Estrada. He's allowed the Yankees 1 run on 2 hits. So slice down the left side. That'll reach the seats, out of play.
Probably, at least up until now, the biggest at-bat, I think, was Marco's at-bat against Brett Gardner a couple of innings ago.
He struck him out, threw in 3 straight changeups, and the third one was a called strike 3 to end the at-bat.
There was a runner at third base and less than 2 outs. Picked up a big strikeout. The Yankees would not score that inning.
You know, Marco Estrada was not held in very high regard in Milwaukee. In fact, he lost his spot in the Brewers rotation shortly after the All-Star break. He was pushed back into the bullpen. The only reason he started in the bullpen this year for the Blue Jays was he had an ankle injury in spring training. That knocked him out of his regular routine. He just didn't have the arm strength to start the season in the rotation.
Couldn't have a full spring training, complements of games and innings, so he started in the bullpen. Well, I'd say there was a couple players faltered. They went to him. He's been great.
Kevin Pillar, the center fielder, calls it in. 1 down here in the 6th. Marco's another very hard worker and an understated guy. He just loves to compete, loves to take the baseball, and he's a guy that's always trying to improve his skills. Carlos Beltran has driven in the only Yankee run of this game. He had a first inning 2-out home run. It's going to reach the seats. In fact, Beltran has driven in 4 of the Yankees' 5 runs they've scored in this series so far.
With 2 swings of the bat. 3-run home run yesterday and a home run today. That tied it with Dwight Evans at 385. Next on the list, Johnny Bench at 389.
Yeah, you get up into the 380s and 390s, you're going to start to pass some Hall of Famers.
Yeah. Greg Nettles is after that at 390, and then Mark Teixeira, his teammate, at 393.
Estrada now is in a position where he can use that curveball. He hasn't thrown many of them to Beltran. Uses the fastball. Tulowitzki, boy, he's been positioned perfectly.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
There's the curveball. It bounces in the dirt to Mark Teixeira.
He'll use that curveball early in the count just to get it over. Here's strike 1. Just flip it in there. Batters will take it a lot of times.
It's a high, deep drive to right. It's got the distance, and it's a home run. Mark Teixeira, just inside the foul pole in right, shoots it into the second deck. His 31st home run of the season. And the Yankees have retaken the lead.
Looked like a high changeup that time from Marco Estrada. Wanted that one down and away. And Teixeira, what a year that Mark is having. 31 home runs now, 78 driven in. Changeup on the inner half. Watch how he just goes around that one and lifts that ball down the right field line, just inside the foul pole.
Mark Teixeira has been battling injuries the last couple of seasons with the Yankees, and he is healthy again, and he has become productive.
One more time, that ball is hooking, and you can see it just goes around the foul pole. But clearly fair. Marco hoping that that ball would hook foul. Blue Jays just battle back to tie this ball game up, and the Yankees go right back on top.
Chase Headley fouls it into the seats for Teixeira. That's his first home run since he hit that home run against R.A. Dickey in Yankee Stadium a week ago Friday. It came in the second inning. So the Yankees have used the long ball to once again take the lead. Beltran homered in the first. Teixeira has homered here in the 6th. Both home runs coming with 2 outs. Rookie first baseman Greg Bird has gone 0 for 2 so far against Estrada. Another foul into the seats off the bat of Chase Headley. The Blue Jays bullpen goes to work. That's Mark Lowe loosening up.
Yankees have done a good job of really making Marco work. He's closing in on 100 pitch barrier. I'm going to take another close pitch.
Headley walks. That's the 3rd walk issued by Estrada. A 2-out walk. Well, Pat, you mentioned Beltran and Teixeira and where they rack up in the rankings of all time of home runs. Alex Rodriguez, their teammate, is 4th on the list. Then Teixeira and Beltran.
How about that? Pretty interesting. Beltran gets a little bit closer, and Mark Teixeira says not so fast. He hits number 394 here in this inning. A-Rod not in the lineup this afternoon, 4th all time.
This is Greg Bird. He's popped out to the catcher and flied out. Bird missed about a month of the season in the minor leagues with the Yankees with a shoulder injury. He was at Double-A at the time. Early May, came off the DL on the 3rd of June. He hits this high and deep to right. Way up there, and it's a foul ball. Well, he got some extension on that thing and hit it into the second deck.
He was a 5th-round draft pick by the Yankees in 2011 out of high school. And he's really starting to move as he got a little bit older, filled out, it's got a little bit more power.
Joe Girardi is checking with the Yankees video just to make sure that they got a good look at whether it was fair or foul, and they're going to have a look at it. It's interesting. He comes out to talk to Jordan Baker, and they're going to look at it. Ball was a high fly ball to right, and when it came down, the umpire felt like it was a foul ball, but the Yankees have asked for a video review.
One more time. See it start to come down. It's higher than the foul pole, but from that angle it looked like it hooked foul.
It hit on that Honda ribbon right there, just to the right of the word Civic. And now the umpires are in communication with New York. Of course, Joe Girardi, you can ask the umpires to have a look at the home run, whether it's fair or foul. Certainly had distance. The only question was where it was when it passed that foul netting.
The umpire was very casual about it too, like it was for sure foul. He just kind of pointed foul. A lot of times you'll see umpires throw their hands up and say, you know, timeout, and then really wave that ball foul emphatically, but he was just pointed that that ball was foul, like it was an easy call. But the Yankees want to take a look at this one.
Paul Emmel is the first base umpire, and Andy Fletcher is the acting crew chief, so he came over to listen in, and the ruling on the field is upheld. It is a foul ball. So it's a ball and a strike to Greg Bird. 2 outs. The Yankees have scored another run here on the Mark Teixeira home run. The Yankees have just 3 hits, but 2 of them have been home runs. The other was a triple by Ellsbury in the 3rd.
Same type of series, I think, where the Blue Jays were in New York last weekend. They scored 10 runs, and 9 of them came on home runs.
Blue Jays out-homered the Yankees in that series 6-1.
They've now homered 3 times. Scored 2 runs today, 4 yesterday. So 5 of the 6 runs have come on home runs. That's what the Blue Jays did to them last weekend.
So it's a full count. Headley, the base runner at first base, will be off on the pitch. Deidre Gregorius will bat next if the Yankees can keep the inning alive. strikes out third to end the inning. Third strikeout for Estrada. But Mark Teixeira batting with nobody on and 2 outs. Gets a changeup and he keeps it fair down the right field line. The Yankees have taken a 2-1 lead on a couple of solo home runs. Cast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Blue Jays are down by a run when Encarnacion has extended his personal hit streak to 13 straight. It'll be Colabello, Navarro, and Pilar for the Blue Jays. Marco Estrada leaves trailing this game, and he gets the handshake from the skipper. Another good outing for Estrada. 2 runs on 3 hits through 6 innings.
Just a couple of mistakes. One to Beltran, one to Teixeira, and he finds himself behind now.
Colabello takes a couple of borderline pitches and finds himself in the hole 0-2. And Jordan Baker's hearing it from the Blue Jays dugout.
Well, he got the first one. It looked like it might have been off the plate, and then the ball on the inner half. And as a hitter, you don't question those calls. You say, hey, is that as far as you're going to go right there? That catch the plate.
Tanaka missed that front door breaking ball. That cutter inside.
This is where you got to battle now. You're behind 0-2, and Tanaka's got a lot of different tricks to try and get you out.
There's that splitter. Another strikeout for Tanaka. That's 4th this afternoon for Tanaka.
The strikeout rate was a little bit higher last season, but is still might not be striking him out. There's the split grip right there. Watch that ball come out and then dive down underneath the bat. But he's still very effective.
That's an interesting pitch, and there have been several different versions of that split finger pitch, fork ball, whatever you want to call it. And Tigers really brought it to prominence as a team in the early 80s. Roger Craig was their pitching coach. Milt Wilcox had just joined the Tigers, and he taught that pitch to Jack Morris. Dan Petrie threw it very well, and then it spread like wildfire.
Didn't Willie Hernandez throw it and win the Cy Young for him?
As more of a screwball. He turned his changeup over. Tanaka feels the check swing tapper back to the mound. 2 quick outs for Tanaka here in the 6th. Yeah, Hernandez threw a screwball.
That's right.
Turnover changeup.
That's right.
But Tanaka's split is hard. And by splitting the fingers, you just take velocity off of it, and it creates a sinker type of spin.
On that replay we just showed, it looked like he spins the ball almost like a screwball to the right-handers. Well, he had the split grip, but the ball came out of his hand like a screwball.
Can apply finger pressure to create different movements on it. This is Kevin Pillar. And there's a curveball. Popped up. Bird, the first baseman, into foul territory, and he make a very good play on that. He had a chance to make the catch, but wasn't really comfortable with his surroundings.
As a hitter, you're just hoping that this ball falls in. Now, he wasn't real sure where the ball or the stands were. I'm just hoping you get another swing.
It to right. Beltran is right there. 3 up, 3 down. The Blue Jays go quietly. Tanaka has retired 5 straight. Will go to the 7th. The Yankees have a 1-run lead.
With all your baseball needs in Sportsnet's MLB Live Tracker. Get play-by-play updates, batter hit zone charts, and real-time win percentage. You can get it by clicking on any game matchup on sportsnet.ca/MLB Live Tracker. It's also available through our brand new Sportsnet app. A great way to follow your favorite game. Buck?
Thank you very much, Barry, as the Blue Jays will bring in a new pitcher. Marco Estrada, the starter, is out after 6 innings. Mark Lowe hasn't pitched since last Saturday in New York against the Yankees.
Yeah, 1 week ago. There are his numbers in 38 games with Seattle and the Blue Jays. That inning is 3 up, 3 downs. He had a strikeout against the Yankees, so he is well rested. And we'll get a chance here to face the bottom third of the lineup of the New York Yankees.
Gregorius Murphy and Stephen Drew, 7, 8, 9. Lowe making his 5th appearance since joining the Blue Jays. Gregorius goes after the first pitch. Lowe swiped at it. Goins is there right behind him to make the play. Lowe's a sinker slider pitcher with a wipeout slider, and he throws hard like the rest of his bullpen mates.
Yeah, his slider is nasty and tough on right-handers. It's where he'll get a lot of his strikeouts.
The Blue Jays bullpen had a streak of 25 consecutive scoreless innings snapped by Beltran's home run in the 8th last night. The bullpen has been great. Lowe has added some depth to that bullpen. John Ryan Murphy, the catcher. Brian McCann, the regular, getting the day off. Murphy's become a very competent catcher. He's blessed with 2 of the best catching instructors in the game today. First base coach Tony Pena, who's a terrific Gold Glove catcher in his playing days, and Gary Tuck, the bullpen coach, in my mind, the finest catching instructor in baseball.
Joe Girardi isn't too shabby either.
Joe Girardi learned from Gary Tuck. Girardi and Posada were the catchers when Tuck was the catching instructor, and Gary Tuck has done a terrific job. He's really pleased with the development of John Ryan Murphy. Of course, Tuck moved to Boston and helped Jason Varitek extend his career, and Varitek was regarded as the best game caller and catcher in the American League for a long time. 2 balls and a strike. Just off the plate now, 3-1. Lowe began his career in 2006 in the big leagues with the Mariners. Came up and made 15 appearances for Seattle. He's never made a start in the American League. Never made a start in the majors.
Well, it's a good fastball right there. Elevated 95 or 97 mile an hour fastball.
Stephen Drew is the number 9 hitter. Foul back. Derek Lowe's another interesting story. He battled some arm issues early in his career. He was released by the Dodgers in spring training of 2013. Signed with the Angels, and the Angels released him in June of 2013. But he just always kept thinking that he could make his way back to the major leagues, and he has done it very effectively.
Injuries played a part of him sitting out of those times.
Fly ball to right. Bautista's there. Mark Lowe retires. John Ryan Murphy 2 down. Marco Estrada was the starter today, and it's another good outing from Estrada.
6 innings and just 2 earned runs allowed. Again by a starter for the Blue Jays. A home run by Beltran, a home run by Teixeira. The only problems for Marco this afternoon. Now the offense has to pick it up.
Yeah, the only problems for Marco Estrada is Masahiro Tanaka. The Blue Jays haven't been able to solve Tanaka. 1 run on 4 hits for the Jays. One and 1 to the Yankees' second baseman. Wow, 99.
I'd say he's well rested. He is reaching back and burning that fastball in there. He hasn't really shown that slider yet.
Fastball ripped into right field by Stephen Drew. Blue Jays had the shift on, but it was past Goins.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
So Drew's aboard with 2 outs. That'll turn the lineup over. Jacoby Ellsbury has a triple in 3 at-bats. Boy, Lowe's got a blazing fastball today.
With some movement on it also.
Lowe came from the Seattle Mariners. The Blue Jays sent 3 minor leaguers to Seattle in exchange for Lowe. They had just seen Lowe pitch against the Jays, and he pitched very well in 2 outings out in Seattle.
If you can't beat them, join them. I'll tell you.
Well, he really fit the bill of what the Blue Jays were looking for. A power arm to add some depth to their bullpen. They brought in LaTroy Hawkins, a veteran, and added Lowe after that.
Yeah, veterans who aren't going to get spooked by a pennant race in August or September. They're just going to go out there and they're going to do their thing. He looked good against the Blue Jays in his 2 outings out there, so they went out and traded for him.
This is popped up behind second into shallow center. Pilar coming in. Makes the catch. Derek Lowe closes out the top of the 7th. Blue Jays are down by a run. It'll be Goins, Revere, and Tulowitzki. AL East Baltimore Orioles against the Oakland Athletics. It's all tonight. Starts at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific time. It'll be Chris Bassett for the A's against Miguel Gonzalez for the Orioles. Last night the Orioles won 8-6 in 13 innings as they put a loss on Drew Pomeranz. So that's more baseball coming up later on tonight. Get to see another AL East rival in the Baltimore Orioles.
Orioles won on a walk-off yesterday. Manny Machado, 2-run home run in the 13th inning.
Goins, Revere, and Tulowitzki trying to get back in this ball game. Blue Jays trail by a run. The hits are even at 4 apiece. Testimony once again to the quality of the starting pitching we have seen. Just enough movement to create that swing and a miss.
One on the outside corner, one on the inside corner.
Tanaka has not made any mistakes out over the plate.
Blue Jays had a golden opportunity against him a couple of innings ago when he momentarily lost the strike zone. Walked a couple of batters.
They had the bases loaded and nobody out, and all they could muster was the sacrifice fly by Josh Donaldson. Bautista struck out with runners at first and second, and then Encarnacion popped out. Boy, there's a lot of different velocities and different movement when you face Tanaka. He cuts it, sinks it, runs it, adds, subtracts, and he throw the kitchen sink at you.
You just have to look for the baseball. Now, you can't guess with them. You can't move along with them. Look in one area. You just got to look for the baseball.
Another hard splitter, and Goins strikes out.
Everything was down, and he has been down for the most part today. That's why he hasn't been hurt. Splitter, look at the action on it. It looks like a screwball going away from the left-hander. He will pick up his 5th strikeout now.
The 5 strikeouts have come in the last 4 1/3 innings. Didn't strike out a bat or two. He got Revere to start the 3rd. Troy Hawkins, a veteran, starting to loosen up for the Blue Jays. Joe Girardi probably has his 2 best relievers on the shelf today, Dellin Betances and Andrew Miller. They both pitched in back-to-back games, including last night's game.
It was a long inning for Andrew Miller. I believe he threw something like 28 pitches in that 9th inning.
Bounced foul right behind home plate.
Including that epic at bat against Troy Tulowitzki to end it. So you got to figure they are both down this afternoon.
Girardi likes to stay away from using his relievers 3 days in a row. Two and two. Well, the Blue Jays need Revere to reach base. He had a single past Chase Headley in the 5th. That would lead to the bases being loaded. Then Tulowitzki walked. Strike 3 call. Jordan Baker calls Revere out on that inside pitch.
Well, that's where he has lived all afternoon, I think. Tanaka, everything has been right on the edges of the strike zone. Fastball, Revere thinks it's inside. You see it's got a little comeback motion to it. And he will get the call. That's strikeout number 6 this afternoon.
That swing back fastball appeared to catch the inside corner. Tulowitzki batting with 2 outs. Ground ball. Gregorius gloves it, throws. What a play. Didi Gregorius has really tightened up the Yankee defense at short. Takes a hit away from Troy Tulowitzki. This has got a chance to sneak through. Look at the range on Gregorius. Gloves it and then uses that strong arm to throw out Tulowitzki.
these are the very coveted bobbleheads they'll be giving out for tomorrow's game. The first 20,000 fans will get the Bell, Barfield, and Mosby bobblehead. I would highly recommend, if you want one of these, you arrive at the ballpark very early. Coming in on Sunday mornings, you see people lined up as early as 9 o'clock because they want these so badly. So, Blue Jay fans, remember to come early, and if you're going to be watching the game on TV, don't forget we'll have that pre-game ceremony of the 1985 Toronto Blue Jays team around 12:45 Eastern Time. Blue Jays Central, of course, starting at 12:30. Buck?
Could be a great celebration of that 85 Division Championship. That'll all take place tomorrow. Before we go there, LaTroy Hawkins will come out of the bullpen to start the 8th inning.
30 games this season for the Hawk. He's 2-1 with a .289 earned run average. This is his first action on this homestand for LaTroy Hawkins, and he'll face the left-handed batters Gardner, Beltran, and Teixeira. You saw from those stats he's been better this season against left-handers than he has against right-handers.
Hawkins last pitched on Sunday in New York. He came in to retire Didi Gregorius and struck out Stephen Drew to end the 7th. That was in the Marco Estrada game. Blue Jays would win that game 2-0. Breaking ball in the dirt. It's a ball and a strike to Brett Gardner. It'll be Gardner, Beltran, and Teixeira.
Boy, that's a good pitch.
Sure looked like a good pitch, and Hawkins didn't get to call. It's now 2-1.
Right down at the knees. That is where Tanaka has lived all afternoon. Right at the knees.
The Blue Jays lost a 1-run game last night. Yankees took it 4-3. Ground ball. Tulowitzki, it's short. Gardner's retired. That'll bring Carlos Beltran to the plate, and he's had a good series going back to last night, pinch hitting at bat.
Well, they've tried to heat him up with a high fastball. That's Aaron Sanchez on the left and Marco Estrada on the right today. And both of these pitchers were fastballs that they wanted to get up, but they ended up in the middle of the plate. You can see he just doesn't have to reach for it. Ball out over the plate. The home run, the 3-run homer, the game winner in last night's game, and then the home run on the right was in the first inning against Estrada.
Beltran said after his home run last night he had 2 strikes. He choked up on the bat, and he was able to get to that Sanchez fastball. So fly ball to right, another ball, well hit. Bautista at the wall. This ball is off the wall. Pilar backs up the play. Beltran just missed his second home run by a matter of feet. A 1-out double. That'll bring Mark Teixeira to the plate. Now it's time for the drive of the game, brought to you by the 2015 Honda Civic. Canada's best-selling car 17 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Blue Jays had just tied it up in the bottom of the inning, and then at the top of the next inning, Mark Teixeira is going to untie it with one swing of the bat changeup, and he hooks it down the foul pole. That is Teixeira's 31st home run of the season, and it breaks a tie with Jim Edmonds all-time. He is now 58th all-time in home runs at 394. Big home run for Teixeira and our drive of the game.
Beltran's out of the game. He gives way for the pinch runner, Chris Young. Mark Teixeira. There's a base hit through the shift into left field. Young's going to come around and score. Teixeira drives in his second run of the afternoon. It is 3-1 New York. Well, he crossed up the shift and hit it right through the shortstop's position.
It'll save you sometimes, that shift, and sometimes it'll cost you. This ball up and away, and instead of trying to pull it, inside out's that ball. There's only one defender on the left side of the infield. Look at that gigantic hole on the left side, and he's going to cash him in. Big insurance run for the Yankees here in the 8th inning.
For Teixeira, he now has 79 RBIs. That's just the second hit for Teixeira against LaTroy Hawkins. He's now 2 for 9 against Hawkins. But it's a big hit for New York. Aaron Loup, the lefty, starting to warm up for the Blue Jays. One and two to Headley. Tapped it foul. Look at Mark Teixeira at first base. He's got batting gloves in each hand. What's the purpose of that?
Well, so you don't jam your wrist when you slide into a base. You see players do that. Sometimes they'll take a handful of dirt just to keep that firm grip. So when you go ahead and slide, you don't jam that wrist in the ground. You're supposed to slide and throw your hands up, but nobody does that.
Yeah, that's the reason you see the old timers. They just bend over and pick up a couple of handfuls of dirt, and that would force them to put their hands in the air because they would have something in their hand. They couldn't brace themselves on the slide. On the same principle Teixeira uses, but you don't see this very often either.
Grabbing both of those batting gloves and keeping them in your hand. I wonder what that feels like running with batting gloves in your hand.
Strike 3 called. Hawkins strikes out Headley. You're a perfect pitch on the outside corner.
Chase Headley's had some pretty good at bats here the first couple of games in this series. It looked like a backdoor breaking ball, maybe a cutter that catches him looking.
Mentioned the bullpen last night had their consecutive scoreless inning streak snapped by the Beltran home run. Now Hawkins is charged with a run here in this inning, and there's another base hit through the hole on the left side. Greg Bird gets a base hit. That's his first big league hit. And Donaldson recognizes that. They're going to throw that into the Yankee dugout for Greg Bird.
Is Josh Donaldson into the game of baseball or what? I mean, he knew that that was his first big league hit. Sends that ball the other way. Congratulations.
And that'll be a good lesson for Greg Bird to remind him, hey, there are a lot of hits the other way. You don't have to pull everything. He just missed hitting his first big league home run back in the 6th. Just pulled it foul. Didi Gregorius is 0 for 3 today, but he's hit the ball sharply. Well, the Yankees are all about tradition, and that's Steve Donahue, the trainer of the Yankees, and he's going to put tape on there and mark the date. who he hit it against, what the count was, and where it happened. That'll be a great souvenir for Greg Burt.
Go stick that right in your trophy case right there. Steve Donahue gets the honors of doing that. Known him a long, long time.
Hawkins jumps ahead 1-2.
Infield's got to knock down any ball that looks like it's heading into the outfield. Those are some precious runs on the bases right there that the Blue Jays have to save.
Teixeira's at second. Bird is at first. Two balls and 2 strikes. This is the pitch that you want to get Gregorius out with.
Yep.
The 2-2 pitch. You don't want to allow these base runners a running start.
Don't want to get it to 3-2.
Gregorius strikes out. The Yankees add a run. They've taken a 3-1 lead as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zorn. Saturday in New York, but he has been in command all afternoon, throwing perfect pitches to the Blue Jays.
He has stayed on the edges, and when he gets the 2 strikes, he's going to expand it. You can see all of these strikeouts. The ball is out of the strike zone. The Blue Jays think it's a strike, and then it just drops off the table and out of the strike zone. His season high in strikeouts is 9. He's also had a couple of 7 strikeout games. But tonight, this afternoon, he has lived on the edges, and he's really used that split finger forkball to perfection.
Blue Jays have managed just 4 hits. They only had 6 hits in last night's game. Josh Donaldson fouls off the first pitch. It'll be Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion. Obviously, this part of the batting order can race a 2-run deficit in a heartbeat. Donaldson has the only RBI for the Jays. It was a 5th inning sac fly.
And that add-on run last inning by the Yankees is huge. With the home run power that the Blue Jays have, the tying run was coming to the plate first batter of the inning.
In the 2 games against New York, the Blue Jays are 1 for 17 with runners in scoring position. They've had opportunities. They haven't been able to cash in. Boy, Tanaka knows what he's doing with every pitch, doesn't he?
Showing him something different, it seems like, every at bat. One time he tried to bend that breaking ball on the inside part of the plate and catch Donaldson.
Elevated that fastball, and Donaldson strikes out. That's 7 strikeouts for Tanaka.
That was by design right there. High fastball, little four-seamer up. Just to change things up a little bit, and Donaldson comes up empty. He has pitched a beautiful game.
Jose Bautista is 1 for 3. Takes the one hopper. 2 down. Throws to Bird. Greg Bird had his first big league hit last inning. It came off of LaTroy Hawkins. And it's interesting because Hawkins was drafted in 1991, more than a year before Greg Bird was born. So he'll have that extra note to add to that souvenir baseball that Steve Donahue has.
Picking on the old guys, huh? All right. Bird's only 22 years old.
Troy Hawkins is 42.
Troy's been in the big leagues, what, 21 years?
Yeah. How about that?
And the kid's only 22 years old.
Edwin Encarnacion has extended his hit streak. He had a leadoff double in the 4th. Balls in a strike to Encarnacion. They mentioned Betances and Miller might be down this afternoon. Adam Warren, who's got a good arm and pitched well against the Blue Jays, is loosening up for Joe Girardi.
He's got a couple of options, I think, even if those two guys are down this afternoon. You mentioned Warren. There's also Justin Wilson from the left side who throws pretty hard.
Warren has a save. Brian Mitchell, a rookie, has a save as well. And Wilson, he's got a good arm. Left-hander Wilson has 43 strikeouts in 42 and 3rd innings. There's a little base hit through the right side. Encarnacion picks up his 2nd hit of the afternoon. And that'll bring the tying run to the plate.
Take what they give you right there. If they're going to put all those infielders on the left side of the infield, take a shot. Looked like another off-speed pitch. Take a shot going to the right side, and Encarnacion does that. Just flips that ball into right field for his 2nd hit.
Edwin is 2 for 4. Chris Colabello has a hit. He singled in his first at bat way back in the 2nd. Look at the location of that pitch. Right on the outside corner.
Practically unhittable. You know, breaking ball like that down and away, right-handed pitcher to a right-handed batter, and unless you're trying to shoot that ball to right field, not much you can do with that. There is a big hole on the right side of the infield.
Then he comes inside off the plate. Tanaka has been masterful at working both sides of the plate this afternoon. Colabello has to battle with 2 strikes. Tanaka struck him out in the 6th. Strike 3 called. Tanaka paints the inside corner. A couple of strikeouts in the 8th. Masahiro Tanaka with 8 strikeouts this afternoon. This closes out the Blue Jays in the 8th. The Yankees have a 3-1 lead.
The 2015 Honda Civic is Canada's best-selling car for 17 years in a row and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Blue Jays trail 3-1 and managed just 5 hits against Masahiro Tanaka. It'll be the 3rd relief pitcher to work for the Jays this afternoon. Lefty Aaron Loup into the ballgame.
Blue Jays used a couple of relievers in last night's game, Cecil and Sanchez, and now Aaron is the 3rd one after Lowe and Hawkins this afternoon. 47 games this season for Aaron, 2-5 with a 5.05 earned run average. Loup has worked 1 time on this homestand, an inning against Oakland, a couple of hits and a couple of strikeouts.
Loup closed out the game on Wednesday. Gave up a leadoff base hit to Josh Fagley and then got a couple of strikeouts to end that ball game. John Ryan Murphy. Well, this is the benefit of being a catcher. He's gone 0 for 3, but boy, what a game he has caught for Masahiro Tanaka this afternoon.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? Being a catcher, you can take your offers, but if you catch a good ball game, call a good ball game, maybe throw out a couple of base stealers, that's like having a 4-for-4 day offensively.
Well, especially for a backup catcher, and that's what John Ryan Murphy is at this stage of his career. Just come in and get the best from your starter, and he's done that. The Yankee bullpen is quiet now. Tanaka's thrown 104 pitches. The ball is hit to left field. Revere is not going to get it. It's past him up against the wall. John Ryan Murphy with his 7th double of the season. a leadoff double here in the ninth.
The Yankee batters the last couple of days have hit balls hard that at times have fooled the outfielders. It seemed. It looked like Revere had a beat on that ball, but it just kept carrying. Ended up going over his head. You see him cut the ball over, and that's over his head for extra bases. And a leadoff double. Now they need to move him, and that's what they're talking about out on that mound. How they're going to defense in case he tries to bunt.
Joe Espada, the Yankee third base coach, came all the way down to home plate to talk to Stephen Drew, the batter. And then after that, Donaldson went to the mound to have a chat with Luke. Donaldson expects the bunt. He's in at third. Colabello creeping in now at first. Drew squares to bunt and takes it outside. Blue Jays can't afford to fall any further behind. They already trail by 2. Drew had a 2-out single his last time up against Mark Lowe. He bunts at it and fouls it off.
Well, you can see how the Blue Jays are playing this one. Loop's got the right side of the infield after he delivers the pitch. The first baseman's crashing hard. Tulowitzki, the shortstop's going to keep that runner close. Throw a strike. Take your chances that you can have him bunt right into an out at third base.
Bunted to Loop. He will look at third. Has to go to first and makes a good throw. Donaldson was away from the bag. J.R. Murphy broke toward third, and they didn't have a chance to make a play at third. Loop turned and fired the first in time. That's the 4th sacrifice for Stephen Drew.
One more time. You got to read this one quickly. Loop does a good job coming off the mound, and you can see Josh just can't get back quick enough. It looked like Aaron Loop wanted to have a shot at third base, but he's just too far from the bag, so he'll get the out over at first base. Now the infield's got to come in.
Loop against Ellsbury. Ellsbury 1 for 4 with a triple. And he singles on the first pitch, and that's a big run for the Yankees. That's Ellsbury's 5th hit against Loop. He's now 5 for 10 against the Blue Jays lefty, and he picks up a big RBI.
You've heard baseball's a game of inches. Well, Aaron Loop came within inches of catching this one right here. Let's go with the ball. It's hit to his glove side. It just ticks off of his glove into center field. You can see how upset he is. Just a reactionary play, and he just can't come up with it. It's an RBI single.
John Ryan Murphy comes in to score from third. It's now 4-1 New York. The Blue Jays bullpen has given up 2 runs here this afternoon. They gave up runs in last night's game. They had been so locked down. They had a streak of 25 consecutive scoreless innings pitched before the Beltran home run off of Sanchez.
The Yankees have been breaking all kind of streaks here through the first couple of games.
Breaking ball tapped foul.
Yankees stopped that winning streak of the Blue Jays last night. That's the second time that they've ended 2 winning streaks of 11 or more games by their opponents in one season since 1965.
They also snapped the Mets' 11-game win streak on April 24th. The Yankees this season are 60-0 when they have had the lead after 8 innings. Brett Gardner 1-2. Now it's 2-2. Gardner has been shut out again this afternoon. He is 0 for 4. He is 2 for 9 in the series. Foul ball, and Navarro couldn't make play on the foul chip, so Gardner has life. It's 2-2 now.
Ellsbury bluffing over there, just trying to distract Aaron Loup a little bit.
Ellsbury hasn't run much since he's come back from that sprained knee injury that forced him onto the disabled list. Gardner slaps at it. Donaldson goes to second, back to first, not in time. Bang, bang at first. Both Ellsbury and Gardner run well. Donaldson unloaded quickly. DeMarlo Hale, the bench coach for the Blue Jays, is checking with the video room.
Goins comes across the bag to stay away from that takeout at second base. Does he get enough? No, he is safe.
Gardner beats it out. That'll keep the inning alive. And with that, John Gibbons has come out of the bullpen. He's got Liam Hendriks, the right-hander, loose. The batter is Chris Young, who came into the ballgame as a pinch runner in the 8th. Young will bat for the first time this afternoon, and he will against Liam Hendriks. Hendriks, the 4th Blue Jay reliever to work this afternoon. He comes into the game with 2 outs and a man at first, and he will make his 39th appearance of the season.
He's pitched well out of the bullpen. You can see his numbers right there. He's only walked 6 batters this season in 48 and a third inning. He will get the right-hander Chris Young, who is hitless in his last 15 at-bats, trying to slam the door right here.
Chris Young came into the ballgame as a pinch runner after Carlos Beltran had doubled in the 8th. Young started in the game yesterday, and he was lifted for a pinch hitter in the 8th. That was Carlos Beltran, who belted the 3-run home run off Aaron Sanchez. Gardner at first. If the Yankees are going to run, this is where they will do it. With 2 outs, righty against righty. And Gardner with 15 steals on the season. It's a chance to get another runner into scoring position. Not running here. Gardner, he hasn't had a stolen base since June 12th. (2-0) now to Chris Young.
Gardner's in that predicament, I think, like Ben Revere is. You don't want to be running in front of the big power bats that the Yankees have.
And that's why I think it's a different situation in this at bat with Chris Young at the plate. Now 3-0. He's not going to run now.
No. Hendricks has been great this year, throwing a lot of strikes. Mentioned he's only walked 6 batters all season long. They might start the runner if it goes to 3-1 here.
There he goes on the 3-0 pitch. It's a strike. No throw from Navarro. So Gardner runs on 3-0, steals his 16th bag of the season, and gets himself into scoring position.
Everybody just fell asleep right here, figuring, well, he's not going to steal 3-0. A little higher leg kick from Hendricks, and no chance for Navarro to throw him out.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd run 3-0. But he's now into scoring position. Good fastball from Hendricks. 96 inside. Mark Teixeira's had a good day at the plate. He's 2 for 3 with a walk. He's homered and had an RBI single. Driven in 2 of the 4 Yankee runs. Well, gets away from Navarro, and Gardner will move to third.
Breaking ball. 3-2, and he bounces it in front of home plate, and Navarro can't block that one, and now they got to face Teixeira.
Yeah, that's an interesting call with Young batting for the first time. They throw him a breaking ball, walk him, and on the wild pitch, Gardner ends up at third. Teixeira, we mentioned his 2-hit afternoon. Joe Girardi's ball club had 13 hits in the game last night. They had 10 hits in Cleveland as they snapped a 5-game losing streak on Thursday night, and they have 9 hits this afternoon.
Boy, they couldn't hit anything against the Blue Jays or the first 2 games against Cleveland. And now it looks like they're getting back to the Yankees.
They gave Ellsbury Wednesday night off. He was 0 for 19. Then he came back and got 2 hits on Thursday night.
They gave Teixeira Thursday off in Cleveland. He's had a big game today.
Yankees are a little bit older. You've got to be very conscious of giving them days off today. Alex Rodriguez and Brian McCann are out of the lineup. Just a little too high. Teixeira bounces it foul. Masahiro Tanaka has gone 8 innings. And he has thrown very well this afternoon. Remember, the Blue Jays beat him last Saturday. Tanaka's thrown 104 pitches. The Yankee bullpen just now starting to loosen up for Joe Girardi.
The farthest he has gone this year. He has never thrown 8 innings this season. They just started warming up down there. It looks like Tanaka might come back out for the ninth.
Teixeira fouls it back. Left-hander Justin Wilson, he mentioned his good strikeout numbers. He's got a power arm. 43 strikeouts in 42 1/3, and the league has hit just 204 against him.
And he just got up after that walk to Chris Young. Starting to get loose.
Teixeira gets a piece of it on the foul check swing. Teixeira, the Yankees leave a pair. But the Blue Jays have their work cut out for them. The Yankees had a run in the ninth. It's a 4-1 Yankee lead. It all starts at 12:30 Eastern time. That's the pregame show, 9:30 Pacific time. Blue Jays will honor the players from the '85 Division Championship team. Willie Upshot, Jesse Barfield, Garth Orge in the box there. They'll be here tomorrow. The Terminator Tom Henke in the orange shirt, so make sure you check it out. It'll all be on the air at 12:45 for that pregame ceremony. And the starting pitcher will be Drew Hutchison against the rookie Luis Severino. Hutchison at 11-2, Severino 0-1. Masahiro Tanaka hasn't had a complete game since last June.
Should be fun tomorrow. Blue Jays got the work cut out for him though here in the ninth inning. Tanaka has been in control all afternoon long.
Navarro lifts it to left. Gardner backs up. One down here in the ninth. For Tanaka, he did just exactly what Joe Girardi hoped he would do with Andrew Miller and Dellin Betances, their 8th and 9th inning pitchers, out for today's game. He's pitching into the ninth.
Give that bullpen a day off so they can recuperate. They played a lot of extra inning games also.
Kevin Pillar hacks at that first pitch. Got a pretty good pitch to hit. Fouls it back. Marco Estrada was the starter in this game. He held the Yankees to 2 runs on 3 hits. But Tanaka has outpitched the Blue Jays. Chopped foul outside of third.
I think at least early on, Buck, in this game, Tanaka was bending, but he wasn't breaking. He was making pitches when he had to. Blue Jays had base runners in every inning through the first 5 innings, but from then on, he has slammed the door. He hasn't had a base runner since the 5th.
Hot shot to Headley. 2 down. Blue Jays down to their last out. Tanaka took the loss in his last start. That too was against the Blue Jays. He allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, but lost 2-0. So now he has gone 8 2/3 here tonight. 14 2/3. He's held the Blue Jays to 3 runs on 8 hits. Ryan Goins has walked and scored. He scored the only Blue Jays run. That was a big inning where they let Tanaka off the hook.
Yeah, that's where it was right there. Bases loaded, 1 out, and they only got 1 run.
Just off the plate inside, a ball and a strike. The Blue Jays for the day have gone 0 for 7 when they've had runners in scoring position. Tanaka really got tough. Bouncing ball, big hop for the shortstop. That's the ball game. The Yankees behind a complete game 5 hitter from Masahiro Tanaka have taken the first 2 games of this 3-game series.
Well, you knew it was going to be tough with Tanaka. He's pitched against him now 6 times, and he's given up 6 hits or fewer in 5 of them. Blue Jays could only scratch across that 1 run that they had. That was in the 5th inning. Blue Jays lose the first 2 games of this series and now fall a game and a half behind the Yankees.
Obviously, lots of baseball left. No reason for anybody to panic, but the Blue Jays lose to the Yankees for a 2nd straight day. We'll be back at it tomorrow afternoon. Drew Hutchison against Luis Severino. Here's Blue Jays Central, Jamie Campbell and Greg Zorn.